Welcome to Secrets to Alignment with Savannah Schaefer. I am here to equip you with the belief and energy to make your dreams a reality. Take this time to fill your cup and align with the most vibrant version of you. Welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaefer. I am so grateful that you are here, and I'm seriously so excited for this episode because I am going to be giving you guys the real, honest, the most vulnerable aspects of my entrepreneurship journey the last 7 years that I've been making an income off of social media. So this is going to be all of the lessons that I've learned, all of the peaks, all of the valleys, everything that I can share with you guys from the beginning of my journey. As soon as I got my first job, I realized instantly that having a regular job was not going to be something for me. I really did not like the way that regular jobs were. I didn't like having management. I didn't like having absolutely anyone to tell me to go clean the bathroom floors. I remember having my first job, my official tax ID job at Dairy Queen, and I instantly knew that this life was simply not for me. And I remember after I quit that job, I never ever ended up doing another job like that. Actually, I did one more job like that later on in my high school years, or actually no, it was when I was in college. I ended up doing a little job when I was in college as well, and I worked there for maybe a week or two and then ended up quitting that as well because I simply cannot work regular jobs. I'm just not cut out for that kind of thing. I have too much creativity. I have too much energy. I have too much inside me that needs to come out. And entrepreneurship is the space for me to absolutely thrive. So I want to rewind all the way back to my senior year of high school. I was about 17 and a half. And I remember it was October of my senior year. And I ended up getting a message from this woman on social media. And she was saying that she would love to have me make an income off of social media with her and all of her friends. And I remember being instantly so skeptical of this. I absolutely did not want anything to do with it. But after I stalked a few of the girls and really started creeping on some of these girls' Instagrams, I was like, oh my gosh, these girls were traveling the world. They were making money from their social media, and it was in the beauty industry. And that is something that I've always been very, very passionate about. I wanted to be a beauty YouTuber my entire life growing up, and there was just this kind of spark in my heart that I kind of wanted to follow and just see what would happen if I went ahead and kind of took a chance on this world of business and entrepreneurship from 17 and a half. So this is 2018 that I ended up saying yes to this. After doing tons of research, I decided to jump in and see how things went. And about 6 months later, I remember it being my 18th birthday. It was April of 2019. I was in Florida with my family, and I remember this was the time that my business really started to just kind of take off. And all of a sudden, I had clients that were all around the US wanting to buy products from me. I had people from my high school and from my childhood reaching out, seeing what I was doing, seeing my consistency on social media, and they wanted to support me. And I just remember that moment so vividly, thinking, oh my gosh, it is happening. It's finally my turn to have the success that I've been seeing all of these other women having. And I remember from day one joining this company, the level of determination and honestly consistency, drive, discipline that I had from day one was absolutely unmatched from any of the girls around me. Even a lot of the girls that were quote unquote above me, at higher ranks or higher promotions or whatever, I really felt like I was just doing so much work, and I was deeply proud of myself for the way that I was showing up. And finally, people were starting to realize it. People were starting to recognize it. I started to see some really awesome wins in the company. Then about 6 months later, I ended up investing into my first course. Now, I invested into a manifestation course with a woman who I still follow today. Her name is Michaela J. She's absolutely amazing. I actually went on a retreat with her at the end of 2019 going into 2020. And I just remember so vividly getting this course, and I invested $2,000 into it. She was giving $500 off. I remember putting in my card number and everything, and I remember instantly feeling like this rush of, oh my gosh, like I just did this. And I remember even questioning my decision of like, did I just give away $2,000 to like some random girl that I've never met on the internet? And is this actually going to work for me? And is manifestation even real? But I started to dive into the law of attraction and how all of these things worked. And I was getting so excited and engulfed into all of the information that was provided through this course. And it was the beginning of such a beautiful journey that I experienced the next couple years following. So I started to get into manifestation. I started manifesting getting into like a car program with the company I was working with. I started manifesting like me moving out and me starting to live this dream life of earning trips with the company I was working with and all these different things. I remember writing it in my journals vividly, and I just came across these journals and oh my gosh, my mind is blown looking back on the things that I used to write about. Like I used to write about the life that I'm living right now in the most incredible detail, minus the baby, minus my daughter. Everything else though was exactly as I've always imagined it, which is so incredibly special. And my daughter's just obviously an extra added bonus. About 6 months after that, 2020 comes and I'm manifesting really hard. And April of 2020, I remember hitting a really high month financially. I just wanted to jump in here really quick to let you guys know that something is coming. Definitely stay on all social media, watch for links dropping. Something is coming for all of the women who are ready to attract more clients through social media with ease so that you can start having higher, consistent cash months. I cannot wait to see you there. Okay, back to the episode. In May, I ended up hitting my first $5,000 month. May of 2020, when the pandemic was happening, everybody was like kind of chilling at home, not really doing anything. And I was full on working my business like 12-hour days. I remember just locking myself in my bedroom for the entire day. My family would all be like out by the pool and I would just be like, no, like I'm grinding right now. Like, please don't bother me. Don't come upstairs. Like I am in the zone. And I was in the zone day after day after day, just grinding, working with so many different women across the United States, like helping them build businesses off of social media, and just the level of tenacity and the drive, the consistency again that I had during that season. I look back on myself and I'm truly so proud of that version of me because I was doing absolutely every single thing in me to make my dreams a reality, to hit these higher ranks, to get the next promotion, to get this Cadillac, to move out and all these things. And finally, a couple months later, after hitting that huge 5K month, I ended up looking for apartments and moving out within a couple weeks of deciding that I wanted to get an apartment on my own. And that decision was something that I made for myself because I wanted freedom. I wanted to be in my own energy. I wanted to just be on my own and away from any outside influences that could throw off my vibes, throw off my energy. I just wanted to be alone, honestly. So I moved out at 19. I remember at this time I was like making more money than my mom was making, and it was honestly such a trip. Like looking back on it, it was such a hugely successful time of my life. And after I moved out, everything was going so amazing. And that was pretty much all of 2020 was like the best financial year that I had ever had up until that point. And it was just blowing my mind. I was earning trips to the Dominican Republic, to the Bahamas. Like things were just literally popping off left and right. And it was from all of the time, all of the energy, all of the work that I was putting in while I lived at my parents' house. I ended up earning the Cadillac as well. Right after I moved out of my parents' house, I ended up earning the Cadillac with this company that I was working for. They basically would give us like $500 a month to put towards our Cadillac payments. So I ended up getting that, and I was on such a high. I was practicing meditation all the time. I was grounding myself with gratitude. Like I was just doing all of the things that all of these incredible leaders were preaching about. I was just soaking it all up as a sponge and just implementing it, putting it into action, and just seeing what would come of it. Then after being on this high for all of 2020, 2021 came, and I remember it so vividly. Things started to just kind of slow down, and I was doing all of the same work that I was doing before. Like my work ethic never ever changed, but all of a sudden the results that I was getting did not match the effort that I was putting in. And I could not understand this. I remember my business just kind of going stagnant. I started to lose a lot of like the team members that I had, a lot of other women who were working with me. They started having like some life events happening and just kind of were losing the vision that I had set for us. And I just remember I couldn't understand what was happening. And a part of me felt really, really lost and confused, honestly, because I was practicing all of this manifestation stuff and I was setting these intentions and setting these goals. And for some reason, I wasn't hitting them. And I just remember sitting there every single day, day after day, working so hard, never taking a day off. Like for years and years, I did not take one day off of my business. Like I refused to. I would not do it because I didn't want to lose momentum. I didn't want to scale back on my consistency. And I remember this even affecting my relationship with Tyler. This was just a couple months after I had met Tyler, and we were having like different dinners together and things like that. I remember showing up late to dinner with him just because I was working so hard on my business. And the way that it was not only affecting my relationship with him, but my relationship with my family and my friends. Like I wasn't seeing my friends, I wasn't seeing my family, I wasn't seeing the people who I loved the most because I had this overworking hustle mentality that was truly taking over every aspect of my life. And I loved that for me when I was like single, but when I really wanted to prioritize relationships in my life, friendships in my life, the way that I was showing up, it was not working anymore. I remember working these 10 to 12 hour days, not allowing myself to clock out of business until 7 or 8 p.m. every single day because I just needed to show myself that I was working hard enough. And I was proving it to myself, like, you're going to be successful, Savannah, you're going to be successful, you're putting in the work, but it just simply was not giving me the results that I had wanted. And I just remember being so confused. I couldn't understand what was happening and why this was all slowing down and how everything that I had thought was supposed to come into fruition was now no longer like in my future, it felt. And it was so deeply confusing for me. And I just remember during this point in time just being like, damn, like I started to entertain some other entrepreneurship ideas and different things that weren't even in alignment with me, but I figured why not give this a shot. And at the end of the day, I had to pay my bills. And I just remember being in this state of like, I thought that I was doing the work and I thought that I was trusting in the universe. And I remember vividly driving to the gym one morning, just thinking like, I'm seeing all these angel numbers. I feel like I'm getting signs that I'm on the right path, but why are the numbers in my business not reflecting that? Like, why am I not getting new clients? Why am I not getting new business partners? Why is my income not growing? And just constantly questioning and overwhelming myself, overthinking myself into this space that honestly was so toxic. So after a year of this, a year of me putting in the work, not seeing the results, and trusting and surrendering and praying and manifesting and setting these visions and all of the things, I was doing every single thing that I knew to do at this point in time to be successful in this business. And after not seeing the results for all of 2022, I remember I was posting 3 times a day on TikTok at this point in time. I remember every single day I would get out a Post-it note and be like, all right, what are my ideas? What content am I going to create? Like how many people am I going to reach out to? How many people am I going to talk to? Like all these different things. I was doing literally everything that I could, not seeing the results. After a year of being in that place, not seeing those results, I remember sitting down and having a conversation with Ty. I was a couple months pregnant. I got pregnant June of 2022, a year after meeting Tyler. And I remember just while I was pregnant, doing the 3 videos a day, grinding, not seeing the results. And finally, by the end of that year, him and I sat down on our couch in the whiskey room and we started to get into this conversation. And I was kind of at this place of just being completely burnt out and discouraged. I felt like nothing I was doing was working, and it made me really, really sad because I had built a $1.2 million business. I didn't know that that was how much I had created at that point in time. I just found out those numbers like a year ago that I had created a business of that level. But I had put so much time, so much energy, so much effort into building this incredible business online, and seeing it kind of grow stagnant and honestly, to me, like fail in a sense. It was really hard for me to even say the words out loud that I think that I might have to scale back with this. And I think that I need to kind of switch gears. And I remember just so vividly having this conversation with him. And it was so hard for me to even say those words. Even as I say them now, like my throat starts to close. Like for me to quit on something, that was so challenging for me because I am such a driven, determined person to be successful, and deciding to let go of something that has brought me a lot of success at one point, it was so deeply challenging for me. But we started having this conversation. I said it out loud finally, and he asked me, "What would you do if you could do anything?" And I said, I would coach people. I know that's what I want to do. I know I want to coach and I want to mentor others. That's what I'm excited about. It makes me so stoked to see people win, to help people succeed. That's what I want to do. But I'd probably do that when I'm like 25. That was like my exact words. I'd probably do that when I'm like 25. And he just looked at me like, what are you putting your dreams off in the future for? Like, he just looked at me like, 25. Like, why, what are you waiting for? What are you going to learn at 25 that you don't know now? Like, it was just a moment where I realized that I was literally putting my dreams in the future. And I remember we started to talk about it a little bit, and I was like, yeah, like that's what I would like to do. And then eventually he said, well, what about like launching like a journal? I know that you're so passionate about that. And so we started to get to work. I remember that night we started drawing up these little maps of me launching a journal of my own. And come January of 2023, I ended up launching my own journal. Tyler helped invest the money into me so that I could actually do this. He put all of the money forward so that I could do it. And then I sold all the journals and paid him back. And it was just this really beautiful experience together. And then only a couple weeks later, I ended up having my daughter, Aria. About 6 weeks later, I had my daughter, Aria. Within that time frame of launching the journals in 2023 to then having my daughter in February of 2023, those few weeks were honestly so magical. So at the beginning of 2023, after I had that conversation with Tyler at the end of 2022, December we had that conversation, and in January I hopped on a phone call with this woman who was really, really interested in personal development, and she wanted to work with me specifically, but she didn't want to have to build a business. And I remember instantly just thinking, oh my gosh, like this could be my new coaching client. Like this could be my first ever coaching client. Holy shit, like this is happening. And I ended up working with her for 4 or 6 weeks. And then I had a phone call with another girl asking for the exact same thing. She's like, I love what you do. I love the personal development. I love the mindset stuff that you share, but I'm not really looking to build a business like the company I was with. And so I decided to take them both on as my first ever coaching clients. And then I worked with them up until like the week that I was having Aria, my daughter, and then had my daughter, took a couple weeks off. And then when I came back in April of 2023, I ended up launching Elevation Mentorship. I began to get inquiries every single week that followed that launch. I started having people from all around the United States interested in what I'm doing and how I can support them and build them businesses and just help them expand. And it was truly like my soul came alive during this point in time. I remember taking my first few clients and just thinking to myself, like, this is what I am meant to do. This is exactly where I'm meant to be, and I'm meant to serve these women. And it's just been such a beautiful journey along this long way. And I never would have imagined that this is the way that things would have gone. And honestly, looking back, just thinking about how stagnant my business was back in 2021 and 2022, I'm so thankful that I continued to to show up and to trust myself and to trust the universe, even when it was really, really hard. That was one of the best things that I learned throughout that time frame, is that things are not always going to evolve in the way that we think that it would, but it is evolving for our evolution. It's evolving exactly the way that it's meant to, so that we can continuously grow and evolve. And even starting this business, like, the ways that it has challenged me is honestly incredible. Like, the ways that this business has really forced me to become the best version of myself, to really live in integrity, to keep the promises that I make to myself, and to lead with compassion and understanding. Like, it has truly rewired the way that I view myself, the way that I view business, entrepreneurship, women in general. Like, it has shifted my perspective in so many beautiful ways, and I am beyond grateful. And what's wild is looking back on that journey that I had for the 4 years that I was with the company that I was with, I ended up building a $1.2 million business. And I didn't even know that while I was in the company. I emailed the company just last year. This time last year, I emailed the company asking what my numbers were, so that I knew what I actually created throughout those few years that I was with this incredible company. And knowing that I made the company like $1.2 million. I took home like, I think it was like $125,000 or so. And then with this business that I've just now created the last couple years, seeing that I have made the same amount. Right now I've made 111,000, I think it's about, or maybe 120 to 111 to like 120, I don't know, somewhere around there. Seeing that I've made almost the same amount in the last 2 years that I made in the last 4 years with this last company, it honestly just makes me so incredibly proud of the growth. And I feel like the more that I've grown internally, the faster I have been able to grow externally. And the way that I've shifted my mindset and truly rewired everything in my subconscious to actually support the dreams and goals and the level of success that I truly desire, the more that I've done that, the more that things have just opened up and come to me. I mean, I've attracted so many different speaking engagements. I've attracted women into my reality that are so high level, and I'm having incredible conversations with random people who I meet on a weekly basis. Like, it is truly so amazing what ends up coming from you deciding to work on your mindset, actually show up to social media with intention and a strategy. I will say that that's so important. Back then, I was just honestly winging it every single day. And now I actually have like a structure, a strategy. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm creating the content that I'm creating. I know who it's going to support, who it's going to help. And honestly, that's another really big part of the lessons that I've learned, is that I used to be a lot more self-centered focused versus really truly wanting to help people. And I remember back then like saying like, yeah, I want to help people, but it wasn't in alignment with the way that I wanted to help people. I didn't want to help people with just like getting new beauty products. I wanted to help people on a soul level and help them evolve as human beings into the most passionate, vibrant, magnetic versions of themselves, along with having high cash months and balance in their lives. Like, that is the kind of people that I work with now. That's the kind of impact that I make now. And that goes so much deeper in my personal opinion than anything that I was ever doing in the past. And I think that that's why it's actually worked so well, is because I'm truly in alignment with what I want to do and with the impact that I want to create while I am here on this earth for this short amount of time. Like, now I work with women who are either beauty professionals, or they're estheticians, they're hairstylists, they're coaches, they're wellness professionals, they're experts in their fields, and I get to help them attract new clients and scale their businesses with systems and strategies, and also maintain balance in their life, give them more time back, and allow them to feel so much more fulfilled than they've ever felt before. And I think that it's just so beautiful what can come from you actually getting into alignment. When you get into alignment with yourself and your business and your purpose and passion, when everything is in alignment, you start to show up completely differently. And from that space, you start to attract next level results, next level people, next level opportunities. People are going to come to you and they want to have your expertise. I have people now that are just flocking to me, being like, hey, can you come speak at my event coming up? Can you come be a consultant for me for this new brand that I'm launching? Can you come coach me for the next 6 months? Can you help me launch these events that I'm doing? Like, I have people now that are really starting to recognize the kind of value that I bring. When you make yourself a high value person that has the skills, the knowledge, the expertise, people want to get in the same rooms as you. People want to know what you have to offer, and they want to allow you to impact their people as well, which is literally what we are here for. We're all here to help each other. And I just think that it's truly so beautiful. And that's why I create podcasts like this, because I want to be real and honest about the journey. It hasn't been like all of these big, high success achievements. It's been highs and lows. And there's been times where my income has dropped like crazy. And then there's been times where it's skyrocketed up to 12K months. Like, it has gone all up and down and around and all of the things. And I just want to be completely transparent and real with you guys with what I've created, and also what's challenged me and what's allowed me to grow the most. I think that it's important to note that every single season that you are in is teaching you something, if you allow yourself to see it that way. If you allow yourself to ask constantly, what is the lesson that I am to be learning in this position right now? That is how you actually transform and become so much greater from all of the experiences that you go through. Also, you cannot fuck up. You cannot fuck up. What's meant for you is yours. And every single time that you may have a quote unquote failure, know that that's actually meant to be part of your story, and allow it again to teach you something so you can grow and learn from it. And then you can move with clarity in the future. Every single time that you shift your focus to how can I show up to help people, that is when everything will shift. When you start to put the focus on the people that you are serving, everything starts to open up, opportunities start to come through, and you really get to experience the luxury and the beauty of this incredible life that we get to live. If you guys have absolutely any questions on anything that I shared today, please send me a message on social media, DM me on Instagram. I am always here to answer anything that you have questions about. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you in the next one.